How's it going, everyone? And welcome to a video that I've wanted to make for a while, but I just felt like I hadn't completed enough extreme demons to be able to make a decent enough video out of. But now that this year's 12 Demons of Christmas has been completed and I have 4 new extreme demons under the belt, I think it's about time that I make a tier list of the extreme demons that I've completed. That way I can show you guys exactly how much that I enjoyed each one, because as much as I talk in each video about how much I did enjoy each one, it's really hard to compare the levels relative to each other to see how much more I enjoyed certain levels than others. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be rating all of these levels that I did from all these ranks that are here from S to suffering. So yeah, you guys will be able to see how much I enjoyed certain ones, and maybe this way you'll be able to see which are some good ones that you guys might want to try out yourself. Let's just start with Cataclysm, my first ever extreme demon. Man, Cataclysm. Now, Cataclysm is an interesting level, and I'm not too sure if just because it was my first extreme demon that I see it through nostalgia, but I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a good level. I mean, it's kind of unbalanced, and objectively looking at it, Cataclysm isn't that good and it wouldn't be high up. But this isn't really an objective list. I'm not here to objectively review these levels. This is a very subjective list of my enjoyment of the levels. And also, my enjoyment isn't just the gameplay. My enjoyment will include the gameplay. It'll be what I thought of the visuals. It's going to be a mix of things. It's just my subjective list of where I would rate these overall experiences. So with Cataclysm, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it a lot. I was happy farming it and I was having fun, but it also was frustrating because the beginning there's a lot of choke points, you know? So man, I don't know if this is like a high C or a low B, but I think for now I'm gonna like leave it at B, and later on we can kind of shuffle these around a little bit as I get further down the list. The next one I'm gonna do is Ice Carbon Diablo X, which isn't actually an extreme demon anymore, but when I completed it, it was an extreme demon. This one right here, dude, I did not like Ice Carbon Diablo X. I had a hard time with it. I thought it was frustrating. Maybe it's just because I wasn't that good at flying at that point, but the choke points are real. Like, there's really easy parts, and then there's just the choke points that make it hard, and you die there all the time. And it really grinded my gears, bro. It also doesn't look good at all. There's nothing really redeeming about it, right? It's just kind of annoying. So I don't know if I'd call it suffering, but you know what? We're gonna put it a very low D. Ice Carbon Diablo X, man, it's a very low D. It has a couple enjoyable moments, but overall, it's just stupid. No, you know what? We're putting it into suffering. If I played it now, I'd be able to beat it fairly quick. However, if Ice Carbon Diablo X is like a new hardest for you and you're rising through the ranks of extreme demons, this level is suffering, because that's when I beat it. It was my second extreme demon. I'd only ever beaten Cataclysm. I hated ICDX. You go into suffering, bro. I took a very long break from extreme demons after that. I promised to be Bloodbath, and then I just ignored it. I was doing a lot of Mario Maker and stuff. So I took a long break from extreme demons, like a couple years. And then I came back and I did Hypersonic. And Hypersonic, pretty dope, actually. I think I'm going to put Hypersonic into A. There's a couple things holding it back. There's definitely a few choke points, and the ending is exceptionally hard, even though I was very lucky to fluke it. But in practice mode, I was dying all the time to the ending, Terran's part. Yeah, it's good. I think visually it's great. I think it goes to the music very well. It's a very kind of early 2.1 level, so the visuals are a little dated. Even though they are a little bit dated, I still think those kinds of visuals, even like 1.9 and stuff, they have a certain charm to them. And there's like good old 1.9 visuals and bad old 1.9 visuals. There's not like, they're not all bad, right? And so I think for an early 2.1 level, it looks pretty cool. And yeah, it's just, I mean, there's a couple annoying parts. I'm not a huge fan. Man, this is gonna be a hot take, okay, guys? I'm not a huge fan of Viper's memorization ball parts in all the Sonic levels. I know a lot of people love them. I'm not a huge fan. And it just takes me so long to remember stuff. And so it made the practice process just a little bit, you know? But at the same time, it does get pretty consistent. And overall, it's just fun. Hypersonic is really fun to play. It's a solid level. I do got to mention one reason why it's not an S. There was one gameplay part I couldn't remember, and I think it was Pan's part. It's like at 70%. Man, that was really inconsistent. So yeah, a couple annoying parts, but overall just a super solid level. Hypersonic is awesome, and I highly recommend it, not as a beginner extreme. It is kind of a beginner-ish extreme, but like Hypersonic is a great second extreme demon. I don't know if it's a good first extreme demon just because how long it is. Like I would go like Cataclysm then Hypersonic, you know? Misty Mountains is a really solid level. The theming of it is awesome, and the way it goes to the fast part with the drop and into the blizzard, it's very cool. Like thematically, it's awesome, and it really has a certain mood and atmosphere to it that I don't want to say is unprecedented, but it just works. Like the sum of its parts is amazing. It's greater than the sum of its parts is what I want to say. So it's a really good level. However, the beginning is really annoying. In normal mode, most of your time is spent in the first 18% of the level because it's way harder than the rest. The rest of the level is an insane demon, and the beginning of the level is the only part that's very extreme with super tight timings, which is very inconsistent, and most of my time was spent there, which felt kind of annoying. With Misty Mountains, I don't know if it's a high C or a low B, but for right now, we're gonna put it into B, I think. We might move it down to C though, because like, it is very frustrating. I was getting super tilted, dying to the beginning of the level over and over. Very inconsistent, but the rest of the level is awesome. Like once you get to the rest of the level, you start having a lot of fun. It's just you get there so infrequent that it made for kind of a frustrating experience. It could be like, if it was well balanced, it could be an S, you know, because like I said, it's greater than the sum of its parts. No part in itself is extraordinary, but it's very fun past 18%, very consistent thematically. It's awesome. Red World Rebirth is interesting because I don't hate this level. A lot of people don't like Red World Rebirth. First off, it has the stupidest first two inputs in any level. It's these two extremely tight ball timings that span across the whole entire screen. So lining yourself up is a nightmare. And it's so annoying dying there like 3 times just so you can get one attempt at the rest of the level. It's so annoying. And the flying at the end is way harder than some of the other flying in the level. The way you gotta like bounce off a slope. I fluked the ending though. As soon as I got to the swing copter first time, I fluked it. But even though I fluked it, I realized that so many people die there, and I died there tons in practice. I got very lucky, thank God. It's pretty unbalanced. It's really annoying. There are some parts that are pretty fun though. Like, I think the swing copter parts are quite fun. However, the flying is super annoying. Like the flying in between 60 and 70 something percent as well is you're like going up and down the whole screen, and then you're flying in between blocks, but the blocks have that translucent effect. So it's really hard to line yourself up, which makes it extra annoying for no reason. That could have just been solid so you could see where you're going. It's got some annoying bits. So Red World Rebirth, I didn't hate this level. It was just kind of, it was one of those levels that I wanted to do because it's a classic. So because I don't like absolutely hate this, I am going to put it into a C. I think it's a very solid C. It's got some fun moments. It's got some really frustrating moments. Overall, like just kind of decent. It was okay. I think we need something for that D slot, you know, it's empty and it's asking us to put something in there. And I know the perfect level for it too. Aftermath is, my God, it destroys your finger because of the tight flying at the beginning, and then the awkward wave that you got to go into when you transition into it, wiggling and waving upwards. It feels so weird, like dropping down and wiggling up, and I don't know. I hated the beginning of this level, and it wrecks your fingers. So farming this level for long periods of time is not fun. It's painful. And oh man, the thing is it wrecks your finger, and then later on in the level at 70%, there's this timing you got to do. It's this extremely tight, like very light tap, and if you hold it down, you'll jump and you'll die. And so as your finger is throbbing in pain because of all the beginning stuff you have to do over and over again, you gotta do this little tight timing, and it's so easy to accidentally press the button too long because your finger hurts. Aftermath kind of pissed me off, actually. So it's going into D. There are some decent parts in Aftermath though. One of the harder parts of the level actually, which is the flying at like 35 to 40 something percent. I forget the exact percentages, but it's the middle flying section into the UFO and basically into the rest of the level is not bad. It's pretty fun. actually. However, the beginning is atrocious and it makes the level just awful. You know, everything from the ball and before is not fun to play. There's so many like fast inputs and it just wrecks your finger. The flying at the end is good. The robot's fun. There's like some good parts just sandwiched in between a lot of bad parts, which puts it in a D tier slot for me. My experience with Aftermath was not fun at all. It is hot take time. Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready for a spicy take on a level? Phobos! Right here, a lot of people do not like this level because there's not bugs, but there's annoying bits that were kind of left in the level, right? Phobos for me is going into a spicy A tier. My God, did I love playing Phobos. You know, even though it's old and dated and some parts are considered awful, dude, I loved playing Phobos and I thought it was like really intense, and it just, even though you went through it and you're like, wow, how did this get released? You know, there's some parts that are weird, like the line at the end of the level in the ship that transitions to the final duel section. There's just a random line there. Dude, it's all part of the Phobos charm because there is a consistent way to do it. It's hard, but there's a consistent way to do it. You know, it's not, I wouldn't call it inconsistent. It's just a very difficult level with some balancing issues. But the gameplay overall is fun. Like, it's old, it's dated, there's some very odd parts left in, but my God, did I enjoy playing this level. It was great fun to learn. It was very interesting. There were some unique bits like the UFO near the end where you got to kind of like double tap on the mouse and the space bar. It was really intense. It was intense, but just fun. It was great. It was very satisfying to play. And when you beat it, you feel good, man. It's not one of those levels that you're like, oh, I'm glad it's over with. I mean, every level you're kind of glad it's over with because you have succeeded. But Phobos, I looked back on it, I thought, wow, I had fun streaming that for a month and it being my new hardest. That was great fun. There's some levels that I stream for like a couple weeks and I'm like, oh, thank God that's over with, right? But Phobos, I looked back at my time and went, yeah, great experience. I loved Phobos. I loved all of its weird old charm, its weird broken charm. It's just a part of it. It was so fun. Okay, let's do Acropolis. Acropolis was my 4th extreme demon. I beat it after Hypersonic. I liked a lot of it. However, there are some parts that were intentionally annoying. Like the wave corridor at the very end of the level was made intentionally. I don't want to say RNG, because there is a pattern you can do where you can kind of consistently get through, but it's not 100% consistency, no matter how many times you practice it though. Acropolis is very trolly in the way where it's meant to make you angry. The timings at the beginning, much like Acropolis actually, are way harder than the rest, and then the wave at the very end is also way harder than the rest. Whereas in Acropolis, once you got past the cube, you had a good chance of beating the level because the rest of the level's not so bad and pretty consistent. However, with Acropolis, man, there's the middle parts of the level are actually pretty good. You know, the beginning was, those timings were cruel, man. I remember some of those timings in like 1-block gaps and then hitting a jump orb and trying to land in a 1-block gap, like a blue orb into a 1-block gap. What a nightmare. Beginning was very, very difficult, and also the ending was very difficult, and I died to the last wave a few times, and it was just, it's like you get just punched in the gut, man. And it was there on purpose just for like the lols, like, haha, gotcha, the lols. I hate stuff like that. And so Acropolis, you had some fun moments in the middle of the level. You are a C, you're a pretty low C though. Like, not quite a D though, because I did enjoy parts of this level. I did enjoy learning a lot of it. But man, the experience for me, it's a C experience for sure. Okay, let's do the ultimate phase. The ultimate phase is one that I most recently did. It was the 12th Demon of Christmas this year, and it was not fun. The ultimate phase goes into D. It's not quite suffering. Suffering is a very special place, okay? It's actual suffering. And Aftermath was almost suffering. As a matter of fact, you know what? Because we're putting them in order, like in these rankings, I am gonna say I need to switch a few of these around. Acropolis is better than Red World. Ultimate Phase better than Aftermath. Misty Mountains better than Cataclysm. And for me, Phobos better than Hypersonic. Actually, no, that's not. Those are, man. Yeah, actually. Yeah. So Ultimate Phase, I did like a little bit more than Aftermath because there were some enjoyable moments. However, there's so many annoying moments in the Ultimate Phase. Both of the duels are well, actually, the He Who Should Not Be Named's duel wasn't so bad. But then there was another duel after that was so inconsistent where you're bouncing around. It's all weird. Zobro's spam part is so annoying and very inconsistent because sometimes you're spamming and you don't hit the last blue jump orb and then you die. It's just, whoa! However, its saving grace and the reason why it's not in suffering category is that the flying parts in Ultimate Phase are all pretty fun. It's just everything that's not flying is not fun. The flying parts are fun to do though. Everything else, I wanted to do it because I know it was an old popular level, and then after having played it, oof, man. I'm glad I did it though, because it's, you know, off the list. Never have to worry about it, but oof. I think it's time for an S tier. And I know what I'm going to put there first because it is a really solid extreme demon. It is my favorite beginner extreme that I recommend to people. Some people think it should be insane, and I get that. However, the line between insane and extreme, it's a very weird line, and it's kind of hard to determine what should be a beginner extreme or a hard insane. So I'm going to put Fanatophobia as my first S rank. I love this level. I love the music sync as a horror fan. I love the theming of it. It's really satisfying. All the timings that are perfectly in sync with the song. The intense, fast part at the end. It's very consistent. It's very fun. It makes you feel like a badass. However, it's not a super hard extreme, but it does test you in enough game modes to kind of get you ready for like ship and also timing gameplay. I think it's a great beginner extreme. It has a little bit of a lack of some game modes. Like, I don't think there's any spider in it. There might be. I forget, man. But there's not much wave either, right? So there's definitely a lack of some game modes to get you better at the game. But I think it really helps with timings and ship, which are two very integral things anyways. So I think it's a perfect beginner extreme. It's very fun and a level that's just so satisfying to play throughout the whole entire thing. I really, really enjoyed this level. My experience with it was fantastic, and I love the way it goes to the song. It's just great. It's just a great level. Honestly, I know some people don't like this, but how? It's so good. I just love this level, and it might just be because I love the theme of it because I'm a horror fan as well. But I love this level so much. All right, it's time for another hot take. I know a lot of people love this level that I'm about to place. I'm going to be placing it lower than some people expect. But Heartbeat by Kremal, I think it's thematically in the way that it goes with the song is cool, but it's almost like it does that, but it sacrifices fun gameplay while trying to have too good of music sync. You know, I think the music sync is unreal, and I think it's like, as an art piece, I think Heartbeat is awesome. As an art piece, the way it goes with the music, I think it's great. But playing it for extended periods of time to beat it was just really annoying because there were some parts that were just harder than others and some parts that were just extremely awkward. It didn't feel good to play this level. I love a lot of abstract levels in Geometry Dash like Heartbeat that have like crazy themes to them. But for some reason, overall, I just didn't enjoy it that much. So with that said, I think I'm going to put it into C, but it's going to be high C. It's like the best C level. Better than Necropolis, better than Red World, but I didn't have as much fun with it as like Cataclysm and Misty Mountains. It just, there were some choke points in this level I didn't like the UFO part being way harder than the rest of the level was pretty frustrating. All the spam you got to do at the beginning, like eventually it kind of like hurts your fingers, and the spam in the wave. It was just, I don't know, man, something about it. It wasn't super fun to farm this level. However, it's a cool level, but it's just not that fun to farm it over and over again, you know? All right, let's do a Jonathan one here. The Lost Existence is a really solid, really long level, XXL level. I really like it. I really like the song that plays as well. It's like the title sets you up for an experience, The Lost Existence. Like you're just going, kind of feels like you're traveling through like certain dimensions. Like it feels like a travel level, like a really good travel level. This one's kind of hard to place because I want to place it really high. I think The Lost Existence I'm going to place into high B. There's a few things holding it back. Just some parts aren't very detailed and some parts don't look as good as others. However, it was a level that was made very quickly, keep in mind. But it is It's good. I really enjoyed it. Damn, I kind of want to place it higher. I think I am going to place it higher. I think I'm going to place it low A. I really liked The Lost Existence. I think in terms of like an XL Jonathan level, it was probably the most fun I've had with one. I did fluke it, to be honest, but yeah. But it was the most fun I've had with the Jonathan level. Like it was awesome. There are better Jonathan levels than The Lost Existence for sure, but it was the most fun I've had with one. Very consistent, very clear gameplay. Just feels like you're going to different realms. Like it's just such a good travel level. And I love travel levels that feel like you're traveling through time, space, wherever, you know, as long as it has that theme of travel. So Lost Existence, I think, does very well. Falling Up, I know exactly where I'm going to place it. Falling Up is going into B, but it's high B because it is a solid level. The flying parts are really intense thematically, where you keep on like falling upwards is really cool. However, the thing preventing it from going into an A or S for that matter is the last duel. The last 10% of the level is a broken and annoying mess, and it's so not fun. And because it's at the end, it's very stressful. Dude, up until that point, the level is so solid. Like some very hard moments, some really cool flying. Music is awesome. The music, like great, awesome stuff. Some of the wave parts are kind of annoying. All the flying is amazing. However, there are like a couple flying parts that are way harder than the rest. Like there's a jump orb timing at like 70% or something that's just so hard. So there's a couple choke points, and the ending, the last 10% is just one big choke point. The like desynced ships, the ship duel is like in the thumbnail that I have. That's so annoying. And the last wave is so annoying. It's just weird, it's buggy, and it definitely brought the enjoyment level down a couple notches. However, solid level, really, really fun. Most of the level is awesome. Necropolis is more fun than Acropolis. I do gotta say, Necropolis, it's much more balanced than what it's based on as well. Necropolis definitely had like ending choke points, which made it really a frustrating experience. Necropolis is fairly consistent in difficulty. It does a really good job of balancing everything. It's not extraordinary by any means. Like the memorization part with the crosses is just kind of annoying, lining yourself up, and it's just, there are some parts that aren't that fun, but it doesn't border into like absurdly unfun and annoying. You know, like it's just kind of, some parts are kind of meh and some parts are woo, but it's never just, it's not a super fun level the whole way. It's just kind of like a mid-tier level. It was good-ish, you know? So I'm going to put that as a B tier, but it's kind of like the lowest of the B levels. But it's definitely above like the ones that are below. It's definitely above the levels that are in C tier. So I can't put it there. So yeah, it's definitely just it's a solid level. It's good. But it's not something that I look back super fondly on. All right, time for good old Bloodbath. Bloodbath it's good. I enjoyed it, and it gets so consistent. Oh my God, it does. My last stream that I was doing Bloodbath, I was whipping out some really good attempts because I died to a bug at 98%, and I still beat it that same stream and I got to like plus 90% like 3 times. It's a very consistent and fun level, a little bit unbalanced, and Michigan can be a choke point. But overall, you know, you get over it. It gets you better at the game, and eventually you get some decently consistent runs from Michigan, you know, like you get better at it. I think I'm going to put Bloodbath in A tier, like a low A, because at the beginning, there's kind of that ball spam that kind of hurts your finger a little bit. And that's kind of annoying. But other than that, I don't really think there's annoying parts. It's fun. Most of it is fun, you know? So it's an A. It's not quite extraordinary enough to go into S, but it's a fun, solid experience. I think it's really cool. I think I'm gonna actually move it up. Move it past the Lost Existence a little bit. I think Bloodbath goes right about there. I have a soft spot for Phobos. Like for some reason, I just enjoyed the crap out of Phobos. I know that's a very hot take putting it there, but I did enjoy it a lot. I think it's time for another S. And my favorite extreme demon that I've ever played is also, coincidentally, the hardest level that I've played in the game. Artificial Ascent is an amazing experience. Artificial Ascent is so much fun to play. All the parts of the level were just fun. You know, some parts, you know, it could have done with a little bit of balancing, but I think the unbalance of it adds to the charm of it. You know, like, because some of the parts that are easier are some of the parts that go to the slow parts of the song. Like when you get to Nazgub and you're like, ooh, shoot, dude, it slows down. And then like it slows down and you go into Abstract's part, which is pretty tough and kind of annoying in a way, but pretty tough, but it gets consistent over time. And then Etzer's, like, it's starting to build up and then it goes crazy at speed, and like for speed it's really difficult, but then like the ending isn't that hard but still feels super intense because, you know, it's quite a long level. I don't know, overall I just thought the experience of Artificial Ascent was fun. It was very fun to learn, very fun to play from 0%. It just such an exciting level as well, the way it goes with the song. It's a very exciting level, and I had so much fun streaming it over the course of a couple months. Pretty stressful, but it was the hardest level I'd ever beaten, so anytime you're doing a new best, it's always kind of stressful, right? But it's such a fun level. Artificial Ascent is my favorite extreme demon that I've beaten so far to this day. Down bass. I don't hate this level. There's a lot of people that hate this level. A lot of people rate this like, oh, 2 out of 10. I hated it. It's suffering. I wouldn't put this level into the suffering category. I liked the way the music sync goes with down bass. Like when you're waving, it's like wah, 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 and like you're waving exactly to the song, and the song does go really solidly with down bass. Like it does. It's so good, the music sync with this level. And so going through some of the parts when you're doing like long sweeping strokes is so good. But down bass has some really annoying spam parts, and way too much spam for me to put this higher than a C. However, I still like down bass more than I liked Red World Rebirth, more than I liked Necropolis. Not quite Heartbeat though. No, I think it's in a good spot right there. It's not good because of the choke points, because like 20 to 40% is an absolute nightmare and you get there a lot and die, and that's frustrating, but it's better than people make it out to be. The parts that are good are really good. It's just, man, some parts super annoying. A Q is great. I really like playing a Q. I'm gonna put a Q into A tier right here. I don't think it quite hits S tier for me. I do love the gameplay, and I think overall it's super solid. There's a couple choke points that I was dying to a lot, like the transition at 25% into the fast part, like the wave. I wasn't a huge fan of that. But overall, it's just a super solid level. However, a lot of people would put this into S, like they think it's, you know, one of the best extremes, and I understand that. I do understand that. For me, however, it was just overall super solid, but for me, not extraordinary. You know, not extraordinary for me to put into S. Like I didn't like it as much as Fanatophobia or Artificial Ascent. However, a Q, I think, is a pretty high A tier. I think a Q is up. It's good. It's really good. Dark Odyssey is such a hard level to place because, like, oh, it was frustrating, man. Dying to post 50%, dying to the duel a lot was really frustrating because I found the duel, it did eventually get pretty consistent. However, it's so easy to practice that part wrong because there's little, like, such minute things you have to learn, and it's just way harder than the rest of the level. However, it's also, like, on the flip side of that, it's also a very genius part, and once you learn all the intricacies of the duel, you're like, wow, that was pretty cleverly crafted. That's pretty amazing. However, I still think it's solid. Like, I still think it's amazing, and it's beautiful, especially in high detail. Such a beautiful level. I love the random parts, how it keeps you on your toes. The random parts aren't super difficult, but you gotta be ready for them, right? So it's, man, it's such a cool, good level. It was kind of frustrating, but when I've also never felt that way beating a level before. I was so stressed at the end of it, but stressed because it's good and I really wanted to beat it because it's like, I know this level's amazing. I mean, it's either S or A tier. I think it's a low S. Yeah, not as good as my other S ranks because of the stress and because of the duel being harder. But goddamn, man, what it does well, it does really well. It's hard not to put it into S. The last level I haven't completed, but I'm gonna be completing soon. And even though I haven't completed it, it goes into ass suffering category, which is Sakupen Hell. This is worse than Ice Carbon Diablo X. Sakupen Hell, my experience with it, I've gotten 86% on it now, is the worst extreme demon experience I've ever had. I hate this level. I hate you, Sakupen Hell. Ah, ooh, ee, ah! Well, there we have it. There's my extreme demon tier list. I tried to like think about it to use all the tiers so that there wasn't like too many in one tier or the other, and I think this is a pretty definitive list. I'm gonna take a look at it. I might switch around a couple things. Let me just give me a sec. No, I think that's good. I think I nailed it first try. Let's go. Just looked over it. Love the placing of these. Yeah, no, that represents my feelings towards the levels that I've beaten. Yeah, so there you have it. A lot of people will ask me which extreme demons that I enjoy, if I enjoyed a certain one more than another. So now you can just refer them to this video. This is my list. They're all in order. So if you see the S tier right here, the top one, Artificial Ascent, means it's like the first one that I like the most, and then it goes down that way. So yeah, you can see exactly which is the basically total ranking of all the extreme demons that I liked. If you were going to make a list with these exact same levels, I would like to know what your ranking would be. And you don't have to have completed the levels. It could just be your very subjective opinion from having seen people complete them or having seen me complete them. That's fine too. But yeah, maybe leave a comment and tell me how you would rank these levels in order. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Leave a thumbs up, helps me out a lot. And as always, peace.